Okay, so to start us off, I've drawn a really rough sketch of how I want my character to look like when I'm done. As you can see, it's missing a lot of the details. It's just basically a guideline of what I'm going to draw in just a moment's time. So I've just drawn this just to give me an idea of how my character's going to look quite soon. So I'm just going to move into the side for the time being. And I'm basically going to draw it again, but take more time on the lines to make it look generally better, because the lines on this are very messy, as you can see. So now, most minions, they're much longer than they are wide. They're kind of a croquette shape, if you've ever had a croquette, or kind of like a potato. So let's start by drawing with just soft, very gentle strokes, because we're going to define the shape a little bit more later. So just draw lightly for now, and we're going to draw almost like a potato shape here. Okay, so just joining it along at the bottom. And you'll see in this rough sketch on the side, I have this line down the middle. I always draw a line down the middle of my drawings, regardless of what I'm drawing, because it gives me a sense of where the middle of the character is. So this is going to be, it's almost like a line of symmetry, but we're not going to be using any mirrors or anything like that. We're just going to be, it's going to be showing us where the middle of the face is, so we know where the other eye should be in relation to this eye, etc. So that's quite a handy little technique if you want to try that out now. So currently we have a potato with a line down the middle, and we're going to turn it into a more defined minion. So I always like to start with the eyes, because for me it's just easier to see where everything else is going to be in relation to the eyes, because it's the thing we kind of look at on all living things first. We always look in their eyes for some reason. I don't really know why, but we just seem to. And so it's easier for me personally to know where everything's going to be in relation. So as you can see, I've just drawn like a sideways 8 here to symbolize where the goggles are going to be. And that's all you have to do here. If you want, you can draw 2 circles, you know, kind of just draw some lines down the middle. It doesn't really matter, just so long as you have an idea of where the eyes are going to be. And I'm just going to kind of ring them off on the inside here, just so I know how the goggles are going to be shaped. Again, just really gentle, light strokes, because none of these lines are final. It's quite hard to just get your lines right in the first try, so you might as well just be very gentle, very sketchy. I mean, we can put the eyes, the pupils, anywhere we want. I could put them here, but I don't want them here. I could have him looking over here. You know, at this point we have freedom of where we can draw them, but I quite like how I've drawn them here, so I'm going to do the same again. Just going to draw them at the top, looking up, because I want him pointing up again. I quite like that pose that I was playing around with earlier. So let's just finish off the goggles here, drawing them around the back of the head. Let's see where they join. If you want to, I recommend this, but if you want to, you can kind of make the goggles a bit 3D looking by just drawing another line down like this, where it joins with the strap. You can see that makes the goggles immediately pop right off his face. And just do the same with the other lens on the other side. If you've got a rubber, just it's quite nice to just go along and erase things that you don't need anymore as you go along. I find it really helps to remove any clutter and make things a bit less distracting while you're working. So here already we have a potato with a line of symmetry, and a pair of goggles and a pair of eyes. Pardon that little line there. Okay, so right after doing the eyes, I like to do the mouth, because I just like to draw the face first before I draw the rest of the character. So let's give him a really wacky smile. I like to start with the corner of the mouth. I never start from the middle of the mouth, as opposed to how I begin the eyes. I do try and build outwards with the eyes, but with the mouth I like to start from the corner and draw inwards and then draw to the other corner. And that helps me get the curve of the smile. And just bringing the lip down. Now I think I've gone a bit too far with this one. It's supposed to be really cartoony, so I want to kind of bring it down and make it a little bit more exaggerated. So that looks a lot better to me. So just going to bring it back up. Okay, as you can see, there are differences now between this drawing and this drawing already, and that's fine, because we don't want it to be exactly like this one. This one's very messy anyway. It was a very quick illustration. So the freedom of sketching something out really quickly first and then drawing it again is that you get the freedom of being able to make changes that you wanted to change. You can draw the teeth, or well, the mouth any way you want. I like to draw my teeth just kind of like this to imply that the teeth are clenched. And as you go from the outside to the in, you can kind of make a little zigzag pattern that shows you. It saves you having to draw all the teeth. You can just draw the outermost ones, and it implies where the rest of the teeth are going to be. But you don't have to do that. I can rub this all out, and you can draw, as I've done here, more spiky fangs if you want to. But I'm not gonna have that. I don't really want him to have that. In fact, I'm actually gonna give him kind of silly teeth like this, like his mouth's open and he's really amazed at what he's looking at up there. I don't know what it is going to be that he's looking at. I just wanted to draw him pointing upwards. And now that we know where the mouth is, we can just kind of erase that line away so it's not distracting us anymore. And just to help give the impression that this mouth is open, we can draw a tongue inside, just a nice curve like the edge of a semicircle. I mean, you can picture a much bigger circle part of this, but just draw like a nice little, almost like a semicircle inside, and a line down the middle, as most cartoon tongues would have. And just something like that to help us understand that this is where the back of the mouth is. You can even like just do some gentle strokes here to give it that illusion of being a bit darker. Just little, I like to draw them all like parallel lines and then just kind of fade them out gently towards the outside. So now we have a mouth with a sense of depth, so time to draw the rest, which would be his dungarees. Now, as you probably are aware, I'm just going to tidy that up very quickly. As you're probably aware, Minions wear their dungarees in a very unusual way. Most dungarees are worn with the strap over the shoulders, but Minions do not have shoulders, so they just wear the straps kind of above where their arms are, because they don't really have anything there to kind of support them. They just kind of wrap around them. So I'm just going to draw both straps. And this is where this line that I drew down the middle comes in really handy, because it helps me just kind of estimate where the other strap would end in relation to that one. Well, I've drawn that one there, so well, maybe that one would be a bit further back. And this is why I say draw very gentle with very light strokes, because if you do make a mistake like I just did, I just drew it a little bit further in, you can tidy it up really quickly with an eraser. Just get like a nice smooth plastic eraser and just tidy things up as you're going. And I just think that's really, really helpful to be able to do that, because I mean, you're never going to get any of your lines perfect the first time. I mean, I've been doing this for a really, really long time, and I'm still struggling to get things right in the first try. And really, it's not important that you do that. You just need to make sure that you work at it, and it ends up looking the way you want. So I've just drawn the top of the dungarees there, just drawing the two straps together, because how they look on the character is a bit like that. And the bottom bit is just, it's a bit strange, but bear with me here. The arm's going to come out roughly here and here. So we have to draw the dungarees kind of just dipping under where the arms come out here. Okay, so time to draw the arm that's pointing up. Now, hands are pretty challenging, but luckily, because we're drawing a minion today, the hands are much simpler than drawing normal hands. They're very cartoony, and they have 2 less fingers than we do. Minions only have 3 fingers, so that saves us a little bit of work in getting the fingers all the same size and all that. So let's just draw this arm curving up. Okay, so don't worry about drawing the arm too long, because what's nice about drawing cartoons is that sometimes it can look better to have the arms asymmetric, not the same size, because it helps to exaggerate the emotion that the character is expressing. So I'm just going to draw very much like I have in my other sketch over there. Just going to draw my thumb curling up over the hand, because he's pointing. So see if you can just replicate that pattern there, just drawing up to where the knuckle is, and then curving it around really gently to the way that the thumb would kind of join in. Now, if you look at your hand, if you clench your fist now and look at the way your thumb folds over your hand, you'll see it does actually go over your fingers. Well, your hand doesn't look like a minion's hand, but we can still have his last finger just folded under the thumb like that. So I'm going to draw that, just a nice little blob to symbolize that other finger. You don't have to be absolutely perfect with it. Again, because it's a cartoon, you can get away with little things like that make it look a little bit wackier. So now finally we're going to draw the finger pointing upwards. Now the finger's going to be a little bit closer to this thumb than this finger because of the way that we've drawn it. So I'm just going to start here, give it a slight curve as I'm going up, because it just looks a little bit toonier. Bring it down, And you'll notice I've drawn it in a way that the fingertip is wider than the top. I've done that on purpose because that's just something I like to do. Again, with cartoons, you can kind of exaggerate the pointing motion because it's so much bigger at the top. It kind of draws your attention to it. Oh, it's quite big at the top. Although I could do with tidying this up a bit here. Just gently erasing away, realizing I've made a small area here. And there we go. It just needs to be a little bit thicker at the bottom. Okay, so that's all done. Just gonna lightly shade that bit there so that we know that's the inside of his glove. They do wear like latex lab gloves most of the time, as far as I remember. So that's what I've drawn here. Just drawn a lab glove there. So we'll try his other arm. Now, again, you have freedom, just like we did with the mouth. You have freedom of kind of doing whatever you want with this other arm. I have, in my original drawing, drawn it so that his arm is held behind his back. You can draw it any way you want. Admittedly, it does save a bit of time to draw the hand behind the back because you don't have to draw the other hand, and hands are a bit tricky. So if you want, you can kind of take a shortcut like that and just draw the hand behind his back and save a bit of time. Admittedly, you won't really learn how to draw hands properly if you do that every time, so it's kind of like a one-off. But I've realized having his hand behind his back doesn't really suit. He's amazed by what he's looking at up here. Whatever this is, whatever this thing is, could be a light, it could be a bird, and he's amazed by it. So why would his hand be behind his back? So I'm actually going to get rid of this. I'm going to change it to something that I think is going to be more appropriate for the pose he's pulling. So what would his other hand be doing if he was really excited? It could be doing all kinds of things, but something that's just popped into my head is I'm just going to very lightly draw it down, and then I'm going to draw the top of his glove where his hand begins. And yes, this arm is a lot shorter than this arm, but that's okay because it's a cartoon. We're allowed to do that. This is exaggerating the wow factor of whatever he's pointing at. His arm's kind of stretching up to point at it. And this hand, this is okay. We're okay to have a little bit of a size difference here. So I'm just drawing where the hand's going to be now. I'm just going to do really, really light strokes to show where I want the fingers to be. And this is okay. You're not going to get this right in one try. This is why I encourage you to kind of experiment. I'm gonna kind of, I'm used to drawing hands a lot now. I'm still not perfect at them, but I draw a lot of hands, and I kind of know what I'm doing with this pose now. And as you can see, I'm kind of drawing his hands like it's kind of outstretched and almost like a wow, a wow way. I don't know really how else to describe that, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing there. Like his hand's just kind of like, it's down and it's not distracting us from what's happening up here. This is where the viewer is going to be looking at the picture. So here, this hand's kind of pointing down and not being too exciting. So I'm just going to kind of flesh in those lines there because I quite like them. I actually managed to get that right there. So I'm not going to make any corrections. I'm just going to kind of bold the lines in so they work. Okay. And just solidifying the arm there. Okay, just tidying up my lines a little bit. You can do what you want with this hand. It doesn't really matter what you draw here. You could draw a little fist. You could just tuck it behind his back if you really want to. It doesn't matter. And we'll quickly draw a pocket in because I'm going to forget if I don't do it now. The Minions have pockets on the front of their denim dungarees with a little logo on it that I can't really remember quite what it looks like now, so I'm just going to draw a circle. I think it's a circle with a G inside, isn't it? Or something similar. So let's just do that. I'll draw that logo in there. Okay. Again, because we're only sketching, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Once you go over it with pen, that's when you have to worry about getting things exactly the way you want. But for now, you've got the freedom of just drawing things the way this way. So, and finally, we'll just draw the legs in at the bottom. Okay. So just roughing out where I want those legs. That's good. Okay, and I can just kind of go ahead and draw the shoes in. Just drawing some curvy, shiny shoes. Draw a little blob on them to show the light reflecting. Okay, the legs are only short and very simple, which is why I left them to last. So I'm just going to tidy up the goggles a bit. Don't like the way they are. And give them a bit of hair. And I believe I'm quite happy with this. I could go over this with pen and I'd be happy with the result. So I would be quite safe to call this a finished sketch of our minion. So as you can see, I've gone over my drawing with a nice thick black pen to finalize the lines. You can do that if you want to. You don't have to. You can leave it as a sketch if you really want. I like to put in some lines like this because then I can just add a splash of color, like so. And you can feel free to do the same because I think it really helps bring the drawing to life. So if you like what you've seen today, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment if you want to. Thanks very much for watching.